Hi, I'm Dr. Rajani. Thanks for joining me today. I'm talking about a new filler line coming to the United States market. A lot of people like new. Is it something you're going to want? Is it a product that's going to make a difference in how you look or the outcomes? What's the benefit? What's the USP, the unique selling proposition? Why would you do it? Something has to be different than what we have now for it to be successful. I know you followed jeuveau, we've talked about Evolus. You can look at my videos, the past ones on Revance and the research that's gone into a longer term neuromodulator. The 6-month botox is one of my videos done way back. Finally, these are coming to market after all this time. Not unusual. The FDA process is very cumbersome. You know, it's a love-hate relationship. Sometimes it's great, and the FDA does a great job, of course. They have their own issues to go through. And sometimes, for the end user, it's a bit frustrating on the packaging, the little nuances to get things to market, but it's here. Now, we talked about the neuromodulator that might last 6 months. It's the same company that's bringing these fillers called Teoxane, and they've been around the world, and I've used them before. You guys know, you probably hear a little from my accent, I'm Canadian. They've been up there for a while. We love them up there in Canada for different things, for the ability to not draw water in, because these are cross-linked hyaluronic acid fillers. But when we talk about, we're going to look at the study today, and we're going to talk about what it means to you. And I'm going to take you through a little bit of what we see as clinicians on the other end. What are we given to evaluate this product? You look at the bottom line of it is I can develop a study to make anything look like it lasts about 2 years, and I can develop studies to make it look like it lasts 3 to 6 months. What you're asking me is, what does it mean for my face? What does it mean for my body? What does it mean for the results? The big players, of course, the first one coming in was Allergan. They did a great job, and they brought us Botox and the Juvederm line, the first filler. And I had it in my hand in 2003. I remember after collagen came and we looked at this first hyaluronic acid filler. Before that, it was the collagen lasted 6 to 10, maybe 12 weeks, and it was the same price. Back then, in 2002, we charged about, it was $463 for 0.8 cc's of collagen, okay, and it didn't last. When this product came, when Restylane L came, it was the first one to market, 2003. We were concerned because we're sitting there going, wow, what if we mess up a little bit? It's a 6-month product. Well, we know fillers last in general, including Restylane, lasts much longer than 6 months in the body. As clinicians, we know that. And when I take you through this study, which is looking at teoxane head-to-head, very interesting study. We'll talk a little bit about that. The nasal folds are where people get the approvals from because it's an easy comparison to get an FDA approval based on this fold. Voluma was one of the first off the NasoLabial fold for a cheek filler, and then of course we have Restylane Lift. The skinny on these things are, and you follow jeuveau and Evolus, jeuveau is a neurotoxin, still exists, had some lawsuit problems with the similarities to Botox, and of course follow its stock, EOLS. I mean, it's an ugly chart. Follow Revance. It was ugly during the beginning of the pandemic, but it's back up to where it was. So what does it tell you? There's a lot of excitement. But they're spending a lot of money for their marketing platform. They spent a lot of money to get these fillers over here. People could have had these fillers in this country sooner. No one really wanted to pay the price. That's my take on it. And understand, when I'm in Asia, I'm in Russia, I'm in Europe, you go to the exhibition floor where we're seeing all the cool stuff. In Russia, there's 200 fillers. Every stand is a different filler company. Same in Europe, same in Asia, Central America. We had limited. Restylane was the only show in town until 2007 when we got Juvederm in hand. So think about how much Restylane we use and the data we have on that. The forearm studies we've done on Restylane. So Revance has to come to market with a hyaluronic acid filler, a cross-linked hyaluronic acid filler, when you have a complete line such as Allergan's with its Juvederm line, which many of you love and use, and it's around the world. It's Kybella, it's Cool Sculpting, and its great reward program, as well as Galderma with its plethora of great fillers such as expression movement technology, NASHA technology, and of course the only biostimulator in a complete line like Sculptra. And of course an amazing rewards program and an unparalleled safety profile, with Restylane being the first one in the country in the United States in 2003 and the only cross-linked hyaluronic acid we had until 2007 with Juvederm coming. So you can see what is the unique selling proposition. What is it about this filler that would make you need it or want it? Price is king. You go to the Beauty Belt, you go to Southern California. Not Northern California is totally different beasts. Southern California, Texas, and Florida, a little bit of New York, price is the game. And so if you're going to ask a premium, what is the differentiating factor that you're going to spend that premium for this line? No doubt, these are great fillers, but it really doesn't matter about the filler. It doesn't matter as much about the filler as how it's brought to market, how it's positioned. So let's look at the study. The rest we'll find out over time. Okay, so you guys said you wanted to see more studies and scientific data, and I believe you. I find it hard to believe, but it is very interesting to me. Before we get into the study, I want to show you this picture. We already looked at Madonna, okay, early, middle, and then later on. I wanted to show you what we're talking about. We're talking about, with this study, removing the nasolabial fold. Watch my other videos on this, but here's a picture of her with the 3 separate pictures. And now check out the picture. This is what we're talking about with this study, removing or filling, softening, however you want to word it, the nasolabial fold. The point I want to make here is we're not talking about making anyone look younger. We're talking about removing a fold on the face. I know it is the #1 driver still to practices. It's what people are asking. It may not be what they're actually getting, because we need to look at the face and determine, is that what needs filling, or is it addressing, as we always talk about, the cheek and the upper face? This study is all simply about that nasolabial fold. Let's start with the title. The efficacy, so the effectiveness and safety of a new resilient hyaluronic acid dermal filler, the correction of moderate to severe. I'm going to show you some pictures, folds at 64 weeks. Okay, so they went to 15 months. Now, when we're looking at a study, one of the things to look at, okay, who did the study? Great people, superstars in the industry. That's what you want to see. Great, we feel good about that. Always good. Let's go back. Let's go to another part of the study. Always good at this point to say, hey, let's go back and see the acknowledgments at the back. Just like any drug you're going to take, think of statins. You got high cholesterol, are you going to go on a statin? Who did the study and why, and who has any interest in the study? Okay, so if we look here, look at any acknowledgments. Good to see that. Canfield is who is helping them with their pictures. Conflict of interest. Everyone got paid for the study. This is normal. It's in keeping with it. But we always keep that in the back of our mind. Let's go back to the top. It is a blinded study. So if we look at it here, we see, okay, it's 15 months. So we like to know the time. It's prospective. It's forward-looking. Multi-centers is not just in one place. It's controlled. Okay, so that means there are a group of people that got no treatment. It's randomized. Okay, we like that. So it's not like they're picking who gets what. Here's the thing. It's double-blinded. Okay, split face. What does that mean? That means the people getting the product didn't know and the injectors didn't know. Here's the issue. When you take a syringe, okay, the syringe, you guys like my drawing, by the way? So if you take the syringe, a product like this is head-to-head with Restylane Lift. Lift is a large Restylane L, the one that came in 2003 that I talked about. Okay, just a larger molecule. But the syringe it comes in is an FDA approval process. So that means likely it was injected with that. How can you be blinded? And this is good stuff. This is what we ask of people when they're on the podium or they're talking about the trials. How would they know they're blinded? Let's say that they were fully blinded and that they did manage to blind them. Here's the problem. The extrusion force, so if we take take the extrusion force of a product. What does that mean, the extrusion force? The amount of push. So what it takes to force the product through that syringe, okay, and get your product out. Expert injectors, we can almost be blinded and know roughly what we're pushing, because in this case, they used all 27 gauge needles. That's what comes with them, but it's difficult to blind. I guess that's the point of this. So let's look forward. I don't want to get into too much minutia, but I do want to, let's go to the picture so you know what they looked at. They looked at moderate to severe nasolabial folds. Again, we're limited. These are absent and mild, to give you an idea what's considered absent and mild. And if we go through to see what did they treat, here we go. These would be considered moderate, severe, and extreme. And they were moderate to severe that were in the study. So this was the study population looked at, just so you get an idea kind of what kind of people we were looking at. And as you can imagine, what was done was filling one side with one product, one side with the other, and then they were allowed to touch up at a certain point, and then they used a little more product in the lift side. Really nothing statistically significant from a real world perspective. And then they put the RH, resilient hyaluronic acid 4, okay, there's 2, 3, 4, different thicknesses of product, but this is their thickest one that is FDA approved here, and they used it. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. Let's look at just a couple points of the trial. So here's what we're a little bit interested in. They used the wrinkle reduction scale. Okay, we got that global assessment improvement scale. And if you look, I went right to the efficacy part because that really is where we need to look. If we look at 24 weeks, okay, so at 6 months, a greater mean score improvement was observed for the RHA4, that's the newer product, than for the lift, okay? So what was the difference? So you can look at the scores. There was a slight difference, okay? The mean score difference was 0.018 with a 95% confidence interval, okay? And what you can say, remember this is a study of okay? This is key, non-inferiority, okay? What does that mean? That means that the new product is not necessarily better, of course, but it's no worse, okay? And that is a way to say that. It doesn't sound good, but it's at least as good. That's a much better way. It's at least as good as the product that's on the market. So what does that mean for you if it's at least as good? Well, I'll tell you a little bit about the problem going up against something like Lift, is that it's the first one that's approved for cannula mid-face, so cheek, okay? It's also approved in 5 different areas of the face, including the nasal fold here, the cheek, okay, the lower face, a couple areas in the lower face, and the hands. So if an injector has that in their hands, no pun, they can on label inject it in 4 other areas in the nasolabial fold. Why is that important? If you're a med spa, particularly at running more as a business and you have multiple injectors, it's awful nice to be on label. You have less questions to answer should an untoward problem occur. Now, what's accepted is what's generally accepted in our population for the off-label use. And it's very common for things to be off-label. But in terms of looking at this study, when you go against something like Lift, and it's a non-inferiority study, and Lift brings all this, and when we look at the one, let's erase this, because what's important is that cannula indication includes the under eye bone, so the area around the eye, okay, it goes right up to the edge of the bone, just below the eye, with the cannula, which a lot of people call what? Okay, a lot of you people call it the tear trough. So if you look at the FDA indication, it includes what some people would call the tear trough, what I like to call the lid cheek junction, okay? Just tear trough, not to me a very correct anatomical term. It's whatever, it doesn't matter. We all, as long as you know what we're talking about. So understand that the analysis showed that it was not inferior to what we have now. In terms of safety, I'll summarize it for you. Again, if you guys want to go through all this stuff, I'm happy to do it with you, but it was safe, as safe as what we have on the market now, and there's no real safety concerns, and we know that because this product's been around the world. So in terms of the discussion, they talk a little bit about the market. We talk on the channel all the time of hyaluronic acid fillers, tremendous growth. We know that. Despite the widespread acceptance, many of them lack robust scientific and randomized controlled trials. Understatement. Okay, RHA4 belongs to a new generation of hyaluronic acid dermal fillers characterized by cross-linking technology developed to preserve high molecular weight HA chains and decrease the amount of cross-linking rate, thus conferring mechanical resistance and tissue biointegration to these gels. What does that mean for you in terms of taking a face like this and creating a face like this? Again, it's a nasolabial fold. So from the study, it's not helping us say, hey, yeah, it's a new gel, here it is. It's not inferior to what we have. A study is what a study is. You can't infer things outside of the study from this. We go on with the discussion. The clinical efficacy of RHA4 was assessed by testing its non-inferiority to lift, the popular and effective dermal filler already commercially available in the US. Okay, lift is a bigger molecule of the same type of gel. That's Restylane. Okay, Restylane is going to be around, just call it 450 microns. Lift, let's call it 900. There's a little range, that's why I'm saying call it. And Silk, all that have been on the market for quite a while. Silk is about, let's call it, it's really, I was going to put 50, but really we're probably more around 70. With Silk has more of a variable rate than Lift and Restylane, but it's under 100. Okay, so it's smaller molecule, why it draws more water in. And they've been used in various trials of reference. So there you go. That's teoxane head-to-head. I wanted to bring you in to give you a rough idea of what we have to see and what we're looking through to determine how we're going to position something like this in the market, if people are going to even bring it into their clinics. What do you think? If you're an injector, are you excited? Are you bringing it to market? Are you going to bring this line in, and how would it fit with the other fillers and the programs, the rewards programs that you have? If you're getting treatments done, are you excited? Thanks for joining me. Stay tuned here. Keep your skin and body beautiful, healthy, and vibrant.